Ladies and gentlemen, being born poor is not your choice, but staying poor is. The first step to changing your life is breaking the mental poverty that has held generations captive. Poverty is not just about empty pockets. It's about limited beliefs, the fear of dreaming too big, the habit of accepting this is all I can ever be. If your mind is shackled, your hands can never build. Look around. Some of the most successful people in the world came from nothing, but what they didn't carry with them was the belief that they were stuck. They replaced hopelessness with vision, replaced fear with action, and replaced complaining with grinding. You must see yourself beyond your current surroundings. Your environment might scream poverty, but your mind must whisper abundance. Feed it with books, with knowledge, with role models who inspire. Listen to those who escaped the same darkness you were born into. Understand this deeply. Success is not about money first. It's about mentality first. A poor person with a rich mindset is only temporarily broke. But a rich person with a poor mindset, they're on their way back to zero. Wake up every day and say, this may be where I started, but it's not where I'll end. Your story deserves more than just survival. It deserves a powerful transformation. Whether it's traditional schooling or self-learning, knowledge separates you from limitation. Learn every day. Learn to earn. Learn to grow. Poor people often stay poor because they never develop a high-income skill. Whether it's coding, designing, writing, trading, speaking, master one thing that the world will pay you for. Your income is not your wealth. What you keep and grow is. Learn how to make your money work for you. Let your money buy your freedom. Stop buying things to impress people. Stop wasting weekends on nothing. Stop blaming and start building. Don't let old habits make you poor forever. Surround yourself with people who have what you want. If you're always the smartest or richest in the room, you're in the wrong room. Make peace with struggle. Don't adjust to suffering. You were not born to just pay bills and die. You were born to rise. Just think about yourself. Think about your children, their children. Break the cycle now, so future generations can live free of the pain you felt. When you are born into poverty, it doesn't just mean your house is small, your meals are uncertain, or your clothes are secondhand. It means your world is often filled with messages of limitation. You grow up hearing phrases like, we can't afford that. That's not for people like us. Or life is hard, get used to it. Over time, these words don't just live in the air. They start to live inside your mind. That's mental poverty. It's the belief that your dreams are too big. It's the habit of settling for less because you've never been shown more. It's the inner voice that says, why try, you'll just fail. But let me tell you something powerful. Your bank account might be empty, but your mind can be full of abundance. You can be surrounded by brokenness, but your vision can still be whole. Poverty of the wallet can be fixed with work, time, and opportunity. But poverty of the mind, that's a prison with invisible bars. Bars built from fear, doubt, and the lies passed down from generations of people who gave up before they broke through. To change your life, the first and most important transformation must happen inside you. Before you build a better future, you must build a better mindset. You must teach yourself to believe what no one around you believed. You must dare to dream when everyone around you has surrendered. You must choose to rise even if no one in your family ever has. You must speak words of life to yourself, even if all you've ever heard were words of lack. You must look in the mirror and say, I am not staying here. I was born poor, yes, but I was also born strong. I was born capable. I was born with something to prove. This shift in thinking is your foundation. It's your rebellion against the life you were handed. It's your battle cry that says, enough is enough. You no longer accept that struggle is your only story. You no longer agree with the idea that you'll just get by. You were not put on this earth to survive. You were put here to thrive. So start there. Start by reprogramming your mind. Read books that open your world. Listen to voices that lift you higher. Speak words that build you up. Surround yourself with energy that fuels your grind. Because here's the truth. A person born into poverty with a rich mindset is already climbing. They may walk, crawl, hustle, fail, and fall, but they'll rise again and again. But a person born with money but trapped in a poor mindset, they're already sinking. They will sabotage themselves, waste their blessings, and eventually return to lack. Why? Because the outer world can only grow as far as the inner world allows. So I say this to you with urgency and fire. Break the chains. Break the lies. Break the victimhood. Break the belief that you can't. Break the silence around your dreams. Break the cycle that tells you to accept less, do less, expect less. You are not your father's failure. You are not your mother's struggle. You are the turning point. You are the answer to generations of pain. And it all begins not with money, not with luck, but with the decision to change your mind. Let that be the beginning of everything. Education is not just about sitting in a classroom or passing exams. It is the most powerful weapon you can use to escape the life you were born into. If you were born poor, understand this. The world may try to take everything from you, your money, your time, your energy, but it can never take away what you've learned. Knowledge is something no one can steal. It travels with you, strengthens you, empowers you, and when used correctly, it elevates you. True education is more than school. It's the constant pursuit of growth. It's the hunger to understand how the world works, and how you can create your own place in it. Read every day. Study people who have done what you want to do. Learn about money, mindset, business, health, discipline, habits, because what you know becomes the foundation of what you earn. Every skill you gain, every new piece of information you absorb, is one brick in the bridge between poverty and prosperity. Educate yourself beyond what they taught you. Educate yourself for freedom. Educate yourself because nobody's coming to save you, and knowledge is your way out. In a world where opportunities are uneven and access is limited, one of the greatest equalizers you can give yourself is a valuable skill, a skill that people need, a skill that solves problems, a skill that earns you money regardless of where you started. If you were born poor, developing a skill that pays well is no longer optional. It is your responsibility to your future. Look around you. The people who rise, who build lives of freedom, who rewrite their family history, they all have one thing in common: they mastered something. It might be coding, graphic design, digital marketing, public speaking, content creation, sales, carpentry, electrical work, fashion design, video editing, or copywriting. It doesn't matter what the skill is, as long as it has market value and you're willing to grind until you're great at it. You don't need to be good at everything, just be incredible at one thing. Focus on it, refine it, practice until you're undeniable. The world will always pay full value. It doesn't care about your background. It cares about whether you can solve a problem. The internet has made it possible for you to learn almost anything for free. YouTube, online courses, free tutorials, mentorship, all at your fingertips. The information is there, but will you use it? If you don't learn a high-income skill, poverty will keep you in its grip. No matter how hard you work, you'll trade time for small paychecks. You'll depend on others. You'll stay stuck. But if you develop a valuable skill, you become free. You become dangerous. You become someone who writes their own paycheck and chooses their own path. So find your skill. Choose your weapon. Get so good they can't ignore you. Turn your talent into income, and your income into freedom. If you were born poor, then every dollar you earn matters. Every rupee, every cent, every coin you keep has power. Power to either enslave you or free you. That's why learning to save aggressively and invest wisely is not just smart, it's survival. Most people who stay poor aren't poor because they don't work hard. They're poor because they don't know what to do with the money they earn. Let's be real. In poverty, money often comes and goes. And when it comes, the urge to spend it quickly, to feel rich for a moment, is strong. But don't fall into that trap. If you were born poor, you can't afford to waste money on things that don't grow your future. Stop buying status. Stop buying comfort. Start buying freedom. And freedom comes from saving first and investing later. Saving aggressively means living below your means, even when it hurts, even when others mock you, even when you feel like treating yourself. It means building a cushion, building discipline, and building the habits your future self will thank you for. Because when life hits, and it will, savings protect you. They give you options when others have none. But saving alone isn't enough. You must also invest wisely. Let your money work while you sleep. Learn how to grow it. Study how wealth is built. Understand stocks, real estate, online businesses, mutual funds, whatever path fits your knowledge and risk level. But start learning now, because the earlier you invest, the faster your wealth multiplies. Remember, it's not about how much you make, it's about how much you keep and grow. Wealth is built slowly and silently, through smart decisions, not flashy moves. If you were born poor, one of the most dangerous things you can do is keep the habits that made your surroundings broke. Poverty isn't always about money, it's often about mindset, patterns and routines passed down like inheritance. If you want to escape it, you must be brave enough to break those habits, even if they are comfortable, even if they are normal where you come from. What are poor man's habits? They are habits like spending money before you earn it. They are wasting weekends on parties instead of progress. They are sleeping in late, making excuses, watching hours of entertainment, but never learning anything useful. They are blaming others for your situation, instead of owning your life. They are talking more than doing. They are dreaming without action. They are living for now, without building for later. Poor man's habits give you temporary pleasure and permanent regret. Rich habits, wealthy habits, give you temporary discipline and permanent freedom. The person who wakes up early, who invests in learning, who saves and builds, who chooses long-term success over short-term escape, that person is building a new life, one powerful step at a time. So stop living like you can afford to waste time. Stop chasing entertainment like it's a reward. Replace TikTok with TED Talks. Replace gossip with goals. Replace impulsive buying with investment. Replace complaining with planning. Because here's the truth. Your habits shape your future. If your days are filled with poor routines, your future will mirror your past. But if you change what you do daily, you change where you end up ultimately. You don't need to be born into wealth to develop the habits of the wealthy, but you do need discipline. You need focus. You need to say no to comfort, and yes to commitment. Don't carry poor man's habits into a future that's meant to be rich. Let your habits rise, even if your environment hasn't yet. That's how you break the cycle. That's how you move from the life you were given to the life you were meant to build. One of the most overlooked truths about escaping poverty is this: your environment matters. Who you spend time with influences what you believe is possible. If you were born poor, chances are your circle has limited vision, limited ambition, and limited resources. That's not your fault, but staying in that same circle forever is your choice. If you want to rise, you must network above your level. Get in rooms where people are ahead of you, where the conversations are about growth, investment, business, discipline, not gossip, complaints, or survival. Surround yourself with people who are already living the life you want. Because when you sit with winners, your standards rise, your goals stretch, your mindset shifts. You might feel uncomfortable. You might feel like you don't belong at first. That's normal. Growth is always uncomfortable, but that discomfort is evidence that you're climbing. Don't run from it, lean into it. Learn from people smarter than you. Ask questions, show humility, bring value. Don't envy their success. Study it. Watch how they think, how they talk, how they make decisions. And remember, networking isn't always about who you know. It's about who knows you. Be consistent. Be reliable. Be hungry. Let people see your drive. Let them see that you're serious about changing your life. Eventually, the right people will take notice. The right opportunities will open. Don't just stay in the same neighborhood mentally, emotionally, or socially. Expand your circle. Grow your connections. Because your future will rise or fall with the people you walk with. Walk with broke mindsets. You stay stuck. Walk with purpose-driven people. You start to fly. Change your circle, and you will change your ceiling. If you were born poor, survival might have been your default. You've learned to stretch every dollar, to make meals from scraps, to wear shoes longer than you should, to smile even when the pressure is crushing. And yes, that survival gave you strength. It gave you grit. It gave you a warrior's heart. But listen carefully. You were not born to survive forever. You were born to thrive. There is a big difference between surviving and living. Surviving is waking up just to go to work, just to come home tired, just to sleep, just to repeat. Living is waking up with purpose, control, and vision. When you settle for survival, you hand your life over to chance. When you aim for more, you take your life into your own hands. Refuse to believe that just getting by is good enough. Refuse to believe that comfort is the goal. Comfort kills ambition. You weren't put here just to exist. You were put here to evolve. You've already survived the worst. That means you're strong enough to build the best. Don't let the pain of poverty become the prison you never escape. Let it become the fire that forges your future. You have to want more. You have to hunger for a life where you don't just count hours, but make every hour count. Where your work builds a legacy. Where your energy is invested in goals, not just in bills. Never settle for just having enough to make it to the next month. That mindset keeps generations stuck. You are the one who must break it. So don't make peace with survival. Make war with mediocrity. Make war with excuses. Make war with anything that tries to convince you that barely enough is all you deserve. Because deep down you know you're not meant to scrape by. You are meant to rise, rebuild, and redefine your entire bloodline. Don't just survive. Dominate. Elevate. Thrive. If you were born poor, you have the rare opportunity to be the first in your family to create something lasting, meaningful, and generational. You can be the one who changes the direction of your bloodline forever. But to do that, you must think beyond survival, beyond success. You must think legacy. What are you building that will outlive your name? A job pays you for now, but a vision builds for forever. Start something that lives when you're gone. Build a business, create a brand, invest in land, write books, teach skills, raise leaders, leave behind more than just memories, leave behind systems, wealth, wisdom, and structure that your children, their children, and generations beyond can benefit from. The greatest tragedy is when a person spends their entire life working, struggling, grinding, and leaves nothing behind but debt and regret. But the greatest honor that comes when generations rise up and say, because of you, our life is different. You don't need millions in your account today to begin building. You just need clarity, courage, and commitment. Even the smallest idea can become a powerful legacy if you nurture it daily. Don't just aim to live well, aim to die empty, knowing you poured every gift, every lesson, and every ounce of strength into something greater than yourself. Build not just for your comfort, but for your children's security. Build not just to escape poverty, but to bury it permanently. Let your life be the foundation others stand on. Let your last name be spoken with honor. Let your legacy prove that just because you were born poor, you refuse to die ordinary. You were born with the odds against you. You opened your eyes in a world that didn't hand you comfort, privilege, or opportunity. But what it did give you, what life handed you with both hands, was a reason to fight. You were born poor, yes, but you were also born with power. The power to change, to choose, to climb. That power may not have been obvious at first. It may have been buried under stress, pain, debt, and silence, but it was there. And now you must awaken it. You must rise with a hunger that cannot be taught and a vision that cannot be stolen. Because poverty may have raised you, but it does not have to define you. You don't owe loyalty to struggle, but you don't owe your future to your past. You owe yourself something better. So take everything you've learned, the pain, the pressure, the rejection, the failure, and turn it into fuel. Learn, earn, build, grow, sacrifice the temporary for the eternal. Cut off bad habits like they're chains around your future. Walk alone if you have to. Work silently if you must. But never ever stop climbing. One day you'll look around and realize you didn't just escape poverty, you destroyed it. You didn't just survive, you transformed. You didn't just rise, you rewrote the story for everyone who comes after you. And when that moment comes, you'll stand tall and say to the world, to your children, to your inner child who once cried in silence, I was born poor, but I made sure I did not die that way. You were born poor, but you were not born empty. You were born into struggle, but not without strength. You came into this world with nothing, but inside you was everything. Every scar, every storm, every silent night, every hungry day, every tear that dropped without comfort, it all built you. It shaped you. It called something deeper out of you. Something unstoppable. Something that refuses to surrender. So now, as you stand in the middle of your life, you have a choice to repeat what raised you or to rebuild what you deserve. Poverty may have introduced itself first, but let it be the villain in a story where you become the hero. No more excuses, no more delays, no more silence. You are the one who must stand up and say, the cycle ends with me. Because if you don't rise, it will continue. The same struggle, the same sadness, the same paycheck to paycheck survival passed down like a curse. But if you truly decide, everything changes, your habits change, your mindset changes, your friends change, your income changes, your peace changes, your entire bloodline changes. You stop looking for rescue and start becoming the rescuer. You stop asking for help and start offering it. You stop blaming the world and start building your own. You work when they sleep. You study when they party. You grind when they gossip. You wake up earlier, move sharper, think deeper, dream bigger, and act faster. You are no longer the victim. You are the architect of your freedom. You don't wait for miracles. You create them with sweat, pain, and persistence. You save when it hurts. You invest when it's scary. You sacrifice pleasure for purpose. You trade distractions for discipline. You build skills. You build value. You build momentum. You stop chasing temporary highs and start chasing legacy. You live with fire. You burn with vision. You refuse to settle. You refuse to shrink. You refuse to waste the pain you were born with. You take your trauma and turn it into trophies. You take the shame and turn it into strength. You take the darkness and you dig until you strike gold. You rise through the nights when no one claps for you. You rise through the rejections that almost break you. You rise through the doubts that whisper you're not enough. You rise anyway. You rise again. And when the world finally sees you, when they ask how you did it, you smile. You smile because they will never understand the weight you carried in silence. They will never know what it cost you to stand this tall. They will never know how many times you almost quit, but you didn't. You kept going. You kept rising. You refused to go quietly. You refuse to stay small. You refuse to live and die in the same place you were born. You took the ashes and built fire. You took the rubble and built a throne. You took the struggle and wrote a new story. A story where your children won't start where you started. A story where your last name becomes a symbol of strength. A story where your existence becomes evidence that poverty can be defeated. And now, because of you, others believe. They believe they can rise too. They believe they are not stuck. They believe they are not hopeless. You became proof. You became the spark. You became the answer you were always waiting for. You didn't need a miracle. You became one. You didn't wait for a handout. You built your own ladder. You didn't just talk. You moved. You acted. You transformed. And now, you don't just have money. You have impact. You have identity. You have purpose. You have power. Real power. The kind that no one gave you and no one can take. The kind that came from pain and became unstoppable. So walk tall. Walk proud. And when the world looks at you with questions in their eyes, tell them clearly, I was born poor, but I refuse to die that way. I was born in lack, but I didn't let that be my legacy. I was born surrounded by silence, but I became a voice. I was born into limits, but I became limitless. I was born with nothing, but I turned that nothing into everything. And now the chain is broken. The curse is ended. The cycle is shattered. And a new era has begun, one that begins with me, but will outlive me, because I decided to rise. I decided to build. I decided to fight. I decided to win.